Good morning and welcome to this proceeding before the Public Service Commission of South Carolina. This is docket number 2020-260-T, application of Anytyme Movers LLC for Class E Household Goods Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity. We will take a roll call of commissioners to begin the proceeding. District 1,
Commissioner Williams is participating virtually.
District 3,
Present in the hearing room.
District 4,
Irvin is participating virtually.
District 5,
Thomas is participating virtually.
District 6,
Chairman Williams participating virtually.
District 7,
Powers participating virtually.
I'm Vice Chairman Belser from District 2, and I am present in the hearing room. I will ask our staff attorney, Ms. Dukes, to read the docket, please.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Vice Chair. This proceeding before the Public Service Commission in docket number 2020-260-T concerns the application of Anytyme Movers LLC for a Class E Household Goods Certificate. This hearing is scheduled for today, Thursday, February 4th, 2021 at 10 a.m. We are holding this hearing virtually due to the COVID-19 pandemic. There has been no objection and no intervention. Madam Vice Chair and other commissioners, the docket is in order.
Thank you, Ms. Dukes. We'll take appearances from the party. Who is appearing for the applicant today?
Good morning. This is Attorney Paul Degenhardt appearing for the applicant, and I am sitting next to my client, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Degenhardt. And who is here for the Office of Regulatory Staff?
Good morning, Madam Vice Chair. Leslie Hammonds with the Office of Regulatory Staff.
Thank you, Ms. Hammonds. Are there any preliminary matters that need to come before the commission before we begin? Mr. Degenhardt or Ms. Hammonds?
I have a motion that I need to put on the record with respect to the criminal and driving records of Mr. Williams. I would like to move that those records either be sealed or redacted, eliminating any reference to any confidential information such as name, driver's license number, social security information, or anything that would identify Mr. Williams.
Did you file redacted versions of the records when you filed them?
I did not.
Are you proposing to file redacted versions after the hearing?
Either that or just having those records under seal.
The procedure here is that if a party is asking for records to be filed under seal, they have to file the complete record in an envelope and file a public version that is redacted.
Right, I understand that.
Okay. It appears.
That's why I thought
it appears that this SLED report is something that you can pull off the internet. Is that correct? There's nothing confidential on that SLED report, is there?
Let me see.
Mr. Degenhardt, you need to please get.
I do not see any confidential information on the SLED report.
Okay, and then on the
driving record, the only thing that I see that would be considered confidential, I believe, would be in the upper right-hand corner, the driver's license number.
Is that appearing on yours? It is not appearing on mine. The copy I have. It may have already been taken off.
It does appear on mine. I have the original that I received
Okay.
from DMV.
It is not appearing on the copy that was provided to me, but we will hold that, we will make sure that that is redacted. In the future, however, there is I believe a commission order out there on how to file confidential information that can be sent to you, or you can find it on the DMS. You can contact Ms. Dukes about that. That'll work. I know you were looking at the report, Mr. Degenhart, but my technical people asked if you could stay in front of the camera. You kind of got off screen there for a little bit. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Is that all?
Thank you.
Any other preliminary matters, Mr. Degenhart?
I have a number of things that I need to make a motion to have made a part of the record submissions that
Okay.
we've already made.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I would like to move that the application, that the amended application,
Okay, let's take these individually. The application, the original application will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 1 and received into the evidence of this case. The amended application, which I believe was filed just this week, will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 2 and received into the evidence. But let me just ask, Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chairman. No objection from ORS.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Degenhart, please go ahead.
thank you. Third is the shipper witness affidavit testimony.
That's Mr.
that-
Jones? Is that Mr.
Pardon me?
Jones?
Yes,
Okay. That will be hearing exhibit number 3, marked for identification. Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
No, ma'am.
And that will be received into evidence as hearing exhibit 3. Mr. Degenhart, what else?
we submitted 2 bills of lading. The first was a bill of lading, and the second was an identical bill of lading with conditions added. Those would be, I believe, I would move for both of those to be admitted as exhibits 4 and 5.
Second, please. Original bill of lading will be 4, marked for identification. The amended bill of lading, I believe that was filed this week as well, is that correct? Will be,
Yes, ma'am, it was.
will be marked as hearing exhibit number 5. Ms. Hammonds, any objections?
No objection.
And the hearing exhibits 4 and 5 will be received into evidence. Mr. Degenhart, I apologize, but can you turn your camera just a little bit, because they tell me you're only half on.
Is that better?
That's great, thank you, sir. We have too many things to think about these days, don't we?
Not used to all this.
I know, I agree.
The next is exhibit, I guess it would be 6, and that would be the submittal of the tariffs.
Okay. I'm showing a tariff filed January 28th. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Proposed tariff filed January 28th will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 6. Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
No objection from ORS.
And entered into the record of the case. Mr. Degenhart.
We submitted a series of pictures of the equipment, and I would like to move that those be admitted as exhibit 7, and that that rather than individually, they be admitted as one exhibit.
All right, sir. And your witness is going to be able to authenticate those?
Certainly.
Okay. Photographs of the equipment will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 7. Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
No objection.
And hearing exhibit 7 will be admitted into the evidence of this case. Mr. Degenhart, what else?
Exhibit 8, we submitted an inspection.
Okay, I'm not sure what that is.
It was a safety certification.
Okay, the safety
Um,
certification. All right, sir.
Safety
Um,
certification.
The safety certification will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 8. That was filed on January 28th as well, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Just trying to make sure we're talking about the same document. That's all I'm trying to do there. Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
No objection.
That will be received into evidence as hearing exhibit 8. Mr. Degenhart.
We previously spoke about the driving record and the SLED report.
Okay?
I'd like to submit the driving record as exhibit 9.
Driving record will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit 9. Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
Objection.
And entered into the record of this case. Hearing exhibit 9 is entered. And the SLED report, you want that as number 10, Mr. Degenhart?
Yes, ma'am.
Will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit 10. Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
No objection.
And entered into the record as hearing exhibit number 10.
And finally, we submitted a summary of testimony. I would like to move that be admitted as exhibit number 11.
Okay, summary of testimony will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 11. Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
No objection.
And hearing exhibit number 11 will be admitted into the evidence of the case. Mr. Degenhart, was there a revised insurance quote filed?
We amended the application to add the insurance, and I received from my client this morning a certificate of insurance that has all of the coverages as well as the costs.
Well,
And
I had a document that looked like it was received on February 3rd that was sent in, I thought. And I thought the revised application was filed on the 2nd. That's why I thought it was separate.
we're looking. Yes, there was a insurance quote that the cargo insurance was added in the amount of $1,368. That was actually part of the application. It was originally left blank. That was submitted individually.
Okay, so do you want that entered?
Yes, I would like that entered, please.
All right, so that will be hearing exhibit number 12, marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 12. Ms. Hammonds, any objection?
Objection.
And hearing exhibit 12 is admitted into the evidence. Now, anything else, Mr. Degenhart?
The only thing else that I have, and that's, I had just mentioned the certificate of insurance, which I received this morning.
You can,
I have not yet,
go ahead.
I received that while I was in transit. I have not filed it yet.
Okay. Do you want us to hold a late filed exhibit for that certificate of insurance?
Yes, please.
Okay, so that'll be,
I will file it at the conclusion of the hearing.
Ms. Hammonds, any objection to a late filed exhibit?
No, ma'am.
That will be marked for we will hold hearing exhibit number 12 for the late filed exhibit, which is the, 13, hearing exhibit 13, which is a late filed exhibit for the certificate of insurance. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Marked as hearing exhibit 13 and entered into the record of the case. That got all our documentation straight?
I believe that's everything.
Okay. Ms. Hammonds, do you have any preliminary matters that we need to talk about?
No preliminary matters from ORS. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Dagenhart, would you like to proceed with calling your witness?
I would, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I would call Mr. Leroy Williams, who's right.
Good morning, Mr. Williams. Please state your name for the record for me.
Good morning. My name is Leroy Williams II.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you're a bit away from that microphone, so you're going to have to talk up, okay?
Let me move the, here.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes, sir, I think we can. Mr. Williams, would you raise your right hand and let the court reporter swear you in, please?
Mr. Williams, do you solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
You can put your hand down, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Dagenhart, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Williams,
Now, Mr. Dagenhart, you've moved the microphone, so you're going to have to speak loud, too.
sorry. Mr. Williams, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay. Mr. Williams, you're appearing before the commission this morning to request that you be granted, or your company, a Class E household goods mover service certificate. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're making that application individually, and your what is the name of your company?
Anytyme Movers, LLC.
And with respect to Anytyme Movers LLC, what is your position?
I'm right now the president of the company and sole member.
And in that capacity, do you feel like you're qualified to appear before the commission this morning and give information about your application and your company?
Yes, sir. I've been doing moving services now since 2012. We've been providing labor services, and I've been in pursuit of this certification for some time, and after acquiring the truck, we're trying to move forward to continue to expand the business and grow the business with our business plans.
Could you explain in some detail, please, exactly what is your business plan?
So the plan is to, we're starting here in Richland County. We have a goal within the next few years from now to be able to branch out throughout the state to provide services in the entire state, residential, commercial, military, and household movement services.
And do you plan to advertise?
We'll be advertising through the social media networks, through Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, as well as Google.
Do you have any plans to put any advertising social on your truck for the public to see?
Yes, sir. That will be after completion of this process. The next next goal is to get that immediately, the truck.
Okay? And, when you put that advertising on, do you plan to add your telephone number and contact information, how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, I would provide the telephone number, of course, the name of the company, as well as website and logo.
Okay? And you mentioned that you had been pursuing this for a while. What is your business experience?
The experience with, disassembling furniture, reassembling, padding and wrapping furniture, loading trucks, unloading trucks. And that was, in storage, in-house, office spaces, dorms with college students. We have different life circumstances where you're dealing with, for example, divorce, and you have to know how to handle those situations where, you're dealing with two different persons' properties. So, a lot of experience there with different circumstances and different places.
How long have you been doing this?
And this would be 9 years.
9 years right now?
Going into 9.
9, okay.
Mr. Dagenhart, I apologize for interrupting, but can Mr. Williams shift a little bit to his left? We've got a great view of the bookcase. We got half of you and half of Mr. Williams.
Okay.
There we go.
Better.
That's a lot better, thank you.
Thank you.
Apologize for the camera. We had some issues this morning, naturally. Everything works fine until it's supposed to. Have you studied the laws associated with moving, and are you familiar with what your responsibilities are?
Yeah, the statutes and regulations of South Carolina, we are well aware, and we go into practice with those in business, and we'll continue to abide by those rules and regulations throughout the business. And
are you certified today to perform moving services in any other jurisdiction, state?
No.
So you're applying exclusively for South Carolina, is that correct?
That's correct.
And your SLED report showed that you had no criminal record. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Your application, it was published, was it not?
That's correct. It was published in the state newspaper.
You recall the date?
October the 30th of 2020.
All right. We talked a little bit earlier about insurance. Do you have in place insurance?
Yeah, I've secured insurance for the minimum requirements as stated in the application. So I have obtained all 3 coverages as we look to move forward safely, providing services safely.
And in fact, the insurance certificate that you provided this morning reflects that, does it not?
That's correct.
Okay. You filed certain financial information. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And was that information correct at the time you filed it?
Yeah, it was accurate information.
And as we sit here today, is it still accurate information?
Yes, sir. It remains active.
Okay. Are you familiar with the rate schedule for the services that you are proposing to provide?
Yes, sir. We're going to offer with the rates for one man of 65 per hour. With two men, I believe it's 95 an hour. With three men, 125 an hour, and I believe for four men we're looking at 150 per hour, and that's with us, also providing the truck as well.
Are you aware that the rates that you have filed are the only rates that you can charge?
Yes, sir.
Tell the commission a little bit about, more about your company, your employees, how it is that you operate, or will operate. Currently and as proposed.
Okay. So currently we're providing labor-only services. That's with, it's four of us, four employees. And we have the furniture padding, dolly, wrap, that sort of equipment that we go to the customer with, and we provide the labor. And not all require equipment, but loading, unloading, some packing, not much, but mostly just helping with the labor portion of moving. And that's as we move forward, we wish to continue to follow our submitted rates and offer truck as well going forward. And we also are well trained. We have certain requirements for moving that we pad and wrap all furniture. So, certain training there, proper lifting techniques, bending your knees when lifting, those sort of things that we train before we allow laborers to go out.
Would your plan to be to, if necessary, hire new or additional employees to expand if the demand for your services required that you do that?
Yes, sir. As we anticipate the demand to, increase, and then also going into moving season, we anticipate a busy season, so we're looking to hire more qualified persons, with clean records as well as, driver's license experience to, come on board and be a part of the team and the company.
Talking about driver's record, I didn't ask you, but the driver's record that we secured from the Department of Motor Vehicles reflects that you have no points at the current time. Does that remain accurate?
Yes, sir.
Earlier, I identified certain pictures of equipment that the company owns and that you utilize. Who took those pictures?
I took those pictures.
And are those pictures true and accurate as to representing the equipment that you own and as it exists today?
Yes, that's true and accurate.
And do you still own the equipment that you took the pictures of and that we provided to the commission?
Yes, sir. I still own the equipment.
And has any of it been destroyed, gone?
No, sir.
Still the same as what we submitted?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct?
Still in the same standard. Is
your plan to expand beyond Columbia?
Yes, sir. We would like to, operate throughout the state, as we already have, smaller demand, but it is a demand for services in other cities. We plan to be in a position to accommodate those needs for, honest, quality, affordable services.
And for each move, we supplied to the commission a bill of lading and then a bill of lading with conditions. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What is your plan in terms of utilizing the bill of lading with conditions?
The proposed bill of lading, we'll put into effect for each move. So each move, that form is for each move separately. That will be in place going forward, upon receiving certification to operate.
And within your company, do you have the record-keeping capability to keep up with all that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Williams, but certainly would ask that you answer any questions from the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Degenhart. Ms. Hammonds, do you have any cross?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll have one quick follow-up, I believe, for Mr. Williams. I think I heard him state that regarding his tariff, that he was offering a two-man rate for $95 per hour, and possibly a one-man rate for $65 per hour. Is that what I heard, Mr. Williams? Is that accurate?
Yes, to the best of my memory, I believe that's what I put on the application. I was, going by that number on the application, and that was to the best of my memory.
Okay. And do you understand that the existing tariff you have only references the two-man rate for $95 per hour? If you did want to also offer a one-man rate for $65 per hour, you would need to amend that tariff, as that one-man rate currently is not in your existing tariff.
Okay, gotcha. Yes, ma'am. I'm aware. I understand. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Madam Vice Chair, that's all the questions from ORS. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hammonds. Commissioners, any questions?
Madam Vice Chair, is Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Please proceed.
I just had one question. Was looking at two documents that were filed on January the 28th. One is the tariff, and on page 5 it says you don't move pianos, no piano charges. And then on the summary testimony at the bottom of page 1, it says you plan to move pianos. So maybe you plan to, but it's not in there now. Just trying to understand. That's all.
Yes, sir. That's accurate. We don't have it right now, but in the future, hopefully sooner than later, we'll be able to accommodate piano moves.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, any other questions?
Madam Vice Chair.
Commissioner Powers?
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Williams, looking at your driver's record further, it appears there was a DUI or DUAC in 2013 and an accident in 2014. Are the two related in any way?
No, sir.
So you had your license back in full force at the time of the accident?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, and you were charged with that accident? I think it says you were responsible. Exhibit 9, it may be.
We're looking.
You said in 2014?
Accident contributed, yes.
Yes, sir.
And there's nothing outstanding, any sort of lawsuit or claim against you because of that at this time?
No, sir.
Okay. In your form that you submitted for the State Transport Police, you mentioned that you were familiar with policies and procedures. I think my question goes to, you've got 4 employees. How do you monitor or keep up with their driving records? Because obviously they would have to do some driving for you, would they not?
Yes, sir. That's the plan. You know, right now, as it stands, they're not doing any driving for the company and the truck of the company yet. That would be further in the plan.
Are you planning on putting in a procedure so you can keep up with any violations or problems they may have for your own protection?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That would be. Yes, sir.
Will they be listed as drivers on your insurance policy?
Yeah. Once they get to become a driver, yes, sir. I would list them on the policy. I would add them as a driver on the policy.
My only other question has to do with workers' compensation. Would you, having 4 employees, you obviously would need workers' compensation insurance. Are you willing to make that a requirement of this application?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, good luck to you. I hope it all works out.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powers. Commissioners, any other questions?
Vice Chair Belzer?
Commissioner Carolee Williams.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Williams. I reviewed your tariff, and I don't think it had anything regarding to charges if you had to store in the process of moving. Is that something you contemplated? Is it something you'll be offering, or is it not indicated because you won't be offering that?
Not at this time. We won't offer it, but you know, in our plan, in our business plan, we would like to even offer storage space. You know, we're looking to invest in storage space as well in the future. So that would be something down the road that we're looking to do and offer.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying that. I noted in a few places we have different addresses, and I'm not sure for you, and I'm for your company, and I'm not really sure. It just seems like this might be the time to be confident of the right addresses and rectify it wherever it's needed. In your application, it's the Fox Squirrel address. I think in the Secretary of State Incorporation, it's a Florence McIver Road address, and I'm not sure if there's another one, but I guess for the most part, I want to confirm that the address we have is the accurate address.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And the Florence address, that's where I was at the time of filing.
Okay.
The Fox Squirrel Circle address is my current address, and that's, you know, the updated address. And of course, I didn't have that address at the time of filing.
Right.
You know, I will be at that address for now until I find a location for the business that's separate from home.
Okay.
Yes,
and I don't know what the Secretary of State standards are, but I'm glad that we've got the accurate address. Yes, ma'am. You know, several of us are learning about this process, and my next question has to do with Mr. Jones's testimony, shipper witness testimony. His employer is Basketball Jones Elite Training. Is there something through that training that gives him the expertise to comment on the need for moving, or is he in the real estate industry? I want to understand that a little better.
yeah, in the past, he was a part of the real estate industry, and I actually done business with him in regards to moving. But as far as right now with the basketball, there's no relation to moving in basketball, no ma'am.
I was open to learning that there was a relationship, but was just curious. Does he work for you by any chance?
No ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, no ma'am.
Let me just double check. I think that's it. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams.
Yes ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Any other commissioners with questions? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Degenhart, do you have any redirect?
No, I don't actually. I think we're fine.
Okay. Mr. Williams, thank you for your testimony. You can stand down as a witness. Mr. Degenhart, do you have anything else to present at this time?
Nothing more, except that as we discussed earlier, at the conclusion, I will file the certificate of insurance as a late filed document.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Ms. Hammonds, recognize you now. Do you have anything to present?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. ORS did not file testimony in this matter. However, as you're aware, I'm sure we did file a letter in the docket yesterday, February 3rd, indicating that based on our inspection and review, that we are of the opinion that the applicant will meet the requirements for fit, willing, and able. At this time, we'd ask that that letter be entered into the record as the next hearing exhibit.
The ORS letter will be marked for identification as hearing exhibit number 14. Mr. Degenhart, any objection?
Without objection.
Thank you. And hearing exhibit 14 will be admitted into the record of the case.
Thank you. And as stated, we did not file pre-filed testimony in this matter. However, we do have with us today and available to answer questions if the Commission so deems, Mr. Thomas McGill of our Safety, Transportation, and Emergency Response Department.
Thank you, Ms. Hammonds. I think we do want to hear from Mr. McGill. Mr. McGill, would you state your name for the record and then be sworn by the court reporter? We can't hear you, Mr. McGill.
Sorry about that. My name is Thomas McGill.
If you would raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGill. Mr. McGill, would you tell us where you are employed and in what capacity, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'm employed by the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff in the Safety, Transportation, and Telecommunications Department, and my job title is the Assistant Manager of the Safety, Transportation, and Emergency Response Department.
And in the course of your duties at ORS, do you have the occasion to interact with applicants seeking household goods authority?
Yes, ma'am. I'm their primary point of contact as far as the compliance period and in preparation for this hearing. And as part of that communication, I go meet with each applicant, and I met with Mr. Williams and discussed the application process as a whole, addressed any issues or concerns that we had with his current application, as well as tariff and bill of lading, and worked through some of those issues that we might see arise in the future from the compliance standpoint. I also look at equipment that he has to be able to say that he and his company will be fit, willing, and able to be a mover in South Carolina.
And after examining his paperwork and meeting with him and having a site visit, did you form an opinion as to whether this applicant is fit, willing, and able to provide the household good moving services statewide in South Carolina?
Yes, ma'am. After meeting with him and him making the adjustments within his tariff and bill of lading that we discussed and further conversations with him, we do find him to be fit, willing, and able to be a mover.
And one question I probably should have asked Mr. Williams, but did you have a conversation with Mr. Williams regarding his bill of lading and the necessity for having the ORS PSC certificate number on the bill of lading should he be granted authority? And also that the bills of lading need to be consecutively numbered for audit purposes?
Yes, ma'am. We did have that conversation that all the way the regulations read, all print advertising, and that would include things on the truck as well as bills of lading, need to have that certificate number upon issuance of his certificate. And he was aware of the placarding issue, the placarding requirements in the regulations.
Okay, and also the bills of lading must be consecutively numbered, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And we discussed that it doesn't necessarily have to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive number, but if there's an invoice system that a computer generated invoice system that he's using that generates those numbers consecutively, that would be okay as well.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. McGill. Commissioners, any other questions for Mr. McGill?
Madam Chair Lady,
Commissioner Irvin?
thank you. Mr. McGill, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Great. If the applicant is going to quote a one-man rate on his tariff, would he need to file an amended tariff to reflect that since it's not on the one on file?
Yes, sir. If that's an intention of his, which if that was inadvertently left off in his tariff originally, then yes, that would need to be filed as a late file with that correction of the one-man rate, if that is what he intends to do, or have as an option.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Irvin. Commissioners, any further questions? Mr. McGill, thank you for your testimony today. You may stand down. Ms. Hammonds, do you have anything further?
I did have one quick question, if I may, for Mr. McGill.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No problem at all. Just to clarify, in concert with Commissioner Irvin's question, Mr. McGill, would the applicant also need to amend his tariff if he determines he will move pianos for a charge in the future?
Yes. Any charges that he intends to add in the future, he would need to go through the formal tariff change process in order to have that added in before just starting to charge customers at random. That would have to be in an approved tariff before he could actually charge that rate.
Thank you, Mr. McGill. No further questions.
Thank you, and I apologize, Mr. Degenhart. Do you have any questions for Mr. McGill?
No, I have none. Thank you.
Okay. Now you may step down, Mr. McGill. Mrs. Hammonds, do you have anything else?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Mr. Degenhart, do you have anything further?
No applicant rests.
Okay. Do you want to confer with your client on the on that one-man rate and whether there's a necessity to hold a late filed exhibit for a amended tariff?
We understand completely, and to the extent that he's going to provide one-man services or piano services, we will follow the formal process to amend.
Okay. Thank you very much. If there's nothing further to come before the commission on this case, we will close this case, and I thank the parties for their participation. Thank Mr. Williams for his testimony and Mr. McGill for his today. And with that, we will close this hearing and we will make a decision in an upcoming agenda session. Thank you very much, and y'all have a good day.
Thanks to all of you.